Hello everybody, what is going on? Welcome to the 4th episode of Opinions Ahead. I'm your host Joarna, that's Joarna. This is a show that I like to run in order to just kind of express my opinions and feelings on video games and thoughts about the internet and what's going on, because as we all know, the one thing that the internet needs is people with more opinions. Today I wanted to talk about the current lawsuit that is going on with H3H3 Productions. Now, before I get too in-depth with this, there's a few things I want to clarify. First off, the date today is currently Thursday, May 26th. It's about 8 o'clock PST, which makes it around 11 o'clock Eastern Time. This video is completely opinion-oriented and editorial, and it is a generation of thoughts and ideas based on information that has been released to the public regarding the lawsuit between H3H3 Productions and the channel, or the gentleman known as Matt Haas's Zone. Now, the reason that I'm stating all this stuff is that when lawyers start to get involved with just about anything, they're kind of like, it's kind of like a nuclear weapon. So they'll like aim for a target of one person, but then the radioactive fallout of lawsuits will start spreading to everybody that's within like a 10-mile radius, or anyone that wants to put their hat in a corner, so to speak of. I've seen it happen before. Just a quick example, I was in a car accident where one car hit a car that was to the left of me, which caused at an angle, and it caused that car to swerve and hit the left side of my door. And the car that hit me, that person, ended up trying to sue me for me being there and causing damage to the front end of his car. I mean, granted, at the end of the day, it was thrown out. But the fact of the matter is that lawyers will sue anyone given the opportunity. So I just want to try to make this aware that this is completely opinion oriented, and it is all based on one person's outlook and ideas based on some of the facts that have been given out there. So let's talk a little bit about the lawsuit. So H3H3 Productions is currently in a lawsuit against another YouTuber by the name of Matt Haas's Zone. H3H3 Productions usually has a lot of commentary / reaction / comedy videos. That's what they do. They have about 1.5 million subscribers out there. They have a very dedicated fan base. The humor is not necessarily something that's in my wheelhouse, but I'm not gonna lie, like, there are a couple of videos on this channel that make me, definitely crack a smile and laugh pretty hard. Matt Haas's Zone is a little bit more of a parkour / prankster, and H3H3 Productions decided to do a react video to one of his videos up there. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, I mean, I'm sure that a lot of people watching this know what react videos are, but the short version is that a person videos themselves watching a video, and they basically record their reaction to it. And a lot of times, they're funny, and or sometimes they'll have reaction videos against any type of pop culture event that's going on. For example, there's a lot of people that react to certain events that happened through Game of Thrones. When the Red Wedding occurred at the end of Season 3, the internet was flooded with react videos. But so H3H3 Production went through and they found this video that I won't say that they were mean, but I mean, they were definitely poking fun at this guy, Matt Haas's Zone. And it was all in good fun in the grand scheme of things, but apparently, obviously, Matt Haas's Zone was not a fan of what they said and what they did. So he decided to lawyer up and get basically a attorney to help him seek damages against H3H3 Productions against what he felt to be unfair use and of the work that he had created, his own original work. So it started off very simply. Originally, there was a cease and desist notice, or I should say a cease and desist style notice that was sent to H3H3 Productions, basically saying, hey, take down this video. We just don't want you to have it up there because of reasons. Mainly because, again, the guy Matt Haas's Zone probably felt that it was deterring views and making him look, slandering his name, so to speak of, even though that was not the case at all. But basically they said, hey, take down the video, and we will, we won't sue you, but you just need to pay the legal fees of about $4,000 that he's incurred so far basically to this date. And good for H3H3 Production, they said, absolutely not, because what's going to stop you from doing this again when I post another video that you do not like or you deem is hurtful? So it went back to the lawyers, and again, H3H3 got another email or another message basically saying, alright, you have to take down the video, we won't want money, but you basically need to promote our channel in a positive manner. And they made all kinds of crazy demands, like make a positive review video that they have to keep up for 2 months, tweet links to his YouTube channel, tweet all kinds of crazy stuff. That was just absurd, because even though there was no money involved with it this time around, at least from the information that I've seen, there was still the fact of what's to stop you from doing this again. And that was probably the biggest factor involved with this whole thing, is that every time that they received a new message from this attorney, it was never a, here's a simple resolution. It was a, we won't hound you as much, or we won't cause as much possible damage to you or your reputation as possible. So here's a slightly better offer. And good for H3H3, again, they said, no, we're not going to do this. Everything that we've done is fair use. And then boom, all of a sudden, the attorney's like, all right, here's a full lawsuit that's going on for $100,000. And now H3H3 is like, well, what the hell is going on? We can't, we didn't do anything wrong. It was all fair use. The challenge with the word fair use when it comes to any type of online content is that it's all interpretive. What I may think of as fair use is not fair use according to person X down the road. And unfortunately, their job is going to be convincing whatever jury, if this actually goes to court, they have to convince whatever jury is put in front of them is that what they did was considered fair use. That is, I would imagine, is probably going to be their primary defense should this end up going to court. Now, the internet community has sprung in to help out H3H3 production. They wanted, originally they could not afford a lot of the legal fees that were going to be associated with this project, but one of my favorite YouTubers, Philip DeFranco, actually started a GoFundMe account, and he's like, hey, listen, we understand that you're in dire straits, but, YouTube is a community here, and we're going to spring together, and boom, he's like, here, we're going to start a GoFundMe for $10,000, and people started pitching in money. I threw in a couple of dollars myself, as much as I could, in order to help out, and it turns out that they raised well over $100,000 for the defense of H3H3, and it was such a grand gesture put on by the online community. There are no other words. It was awe-inspiring to see how everybody came together. People were just donating money to help defend them against fair use. And the real reason for this video is not necessarily the lawsuit. Again, people will sue anyone for anything if they're given the opportunity. I'm actually more upset with the way that Google and YouTube operate their business so that anybody can be sued by anybody regardless of what the lawsuit is about. So before all of this lawsuit stuff went down, the attorney contacted YouTube about everything that was going on, and then YouTube came down and laid a copyright strike on the H3H3 channel. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, the copyright strike system on YouTube is incredibly chaotic and incredibly archaic. It punishes people for creating content that other people can find to be offensive or deem to be offensive or not in that other person's best interest. And because of that, it's incredibly easy for videos to either be taken down, removed, or even, like I said, given copyright strikes to the owners of those videos because that person didn't like the way that, a video was being used. Google really needs to re-examine the way that their copyright system works. Now, granted, it has gotten better over the years, but it's still incredibly outdated. The fact that I could go onto YouTube and see a video by person X, and let's say it used a outside item, whether it be a picture, a video, a song, or even just slandering somebody's name, I can then go on to YouTube's copyright strike setup and I can do what I can in order to get that video removed, or I can end up claiming the monetization aspect of that specific video. Now, the problem is that during this time frame, the money that video is generating is now going into basically a holding account until Google/YouTube can determine the actual owner of said copyrighted content, and then from there they'll make a decision that basically either says, hey, person X was right or person X was wrong. The problem is that it's incredibly easy for that third-party person, that outside person who's claiming copyrighted content, to win. It's very difficult for the YouTube generator, the content creator, to hold on to those rights for that specific video. YouTube doesn't really have like an appeals system, so to speak of. You can talk to like their tech support / help support, but the problem is that Google and YouTube have specific policies set in place. Now, I'm not upset about these policies. I just think that they need to be re-examined and reworked. Google in itself has to protect Google. Google's number one concern is Google. Everything else after that is secondary concern. If person X on the internet decides to sue person Y on the internet because of something that was put on YouTube, a Google company, Google is going to do whatever they can to stay out of the middle of it, because the last thing that they want is to be drawn into a lawsuit and then have that person that's doing the suing end up sue Google as well, because Google has a hell of a lot more to lose than random person number 2 on the internet. Now, the reason that this bothers me so much is that I am now, me being a part of the YouTube, and, again, I don't have 1.5 million subscribers. I mean, Christ, I barely, if I get 1 or 2 views a day on a video, I'll do a goddamn backflip. But it bothers me so much that there are these basically loopholes in the system that allow people to get away with some pretty extensive ways to profit off of other people's hard work and hard time that they've put into creating something. Now, I don't want to go into this too much. I mean, the facts are out there. H3H3 has about a 15-minute video describing the exact breakdown and the exact transgressions of the exact transcript of what happened as far as communications between them and this lawyer that Matt Hosszone represents. It's not something I want to go into deep detail for, because all it's going to do is just raise my blood pressure. I have a severe problem of people getting away with, it's basically taking credit for other people's work and being able to get away with it. It's one thing if someone takes credit and then they have to pay, or they have to not so much atone for what they've done, but basically correct what was wrong. But seeing people get away with it on a regular basis is just almost anger-inducing from a creator standpoint. I've created music for years and years and years before I started doing anything on YouTube with my Let's Plays and stuff, just as a hobby, just as something I like to do. And the fact that I know for a fact that there are people out there that have used my songs, regardless of whether or not it was intentional or unintentional, and then claim it as their own work, it is just, anger-inducing. And there's, unfortunately, because I'm not a multi-million-dollar company, there's not a whole lot I can do about it. I just have to be like, oh god, that's annoying as hell, I can't believe that happened, let me move on. I'm very glad to see that H3H3 is able to basically, they are right now coming out on top in the eyes of the public. They are seen as the company or the organization that did absolutely nothing wrong, but they're being penalized for their opinions and their thoughts and their usage of the term fair use. As I said before, there was a GoFundMe page that was set up, and I actually just checked it not too long ago, and it's up to just shy of about $120,000 now. Even H3H3 put out a video saying, thank you for your support, listing, a lot of the big money droppers. They're going to use that money and put it into basically a fair use protection account, which they lovingly called the FUPA. I'll let Urban Dictionary tell you what that's all about. But they're basically putting it into an escrow account in order to help protect anybody else who basically doesn't have the following that they have. They have, like I said, they have a large following. They have, they basically have a lot of resources on hand. But there are other people out there that don't have that level of resources and don't have that kind of following. So they're putting this into an account to basically help other people in the future, which I think is a fantastic idea and a grand idea. With that being said, well, we're just going to have to play the waiting game to see how this legal situation turns out. Personally, I have a feeling that if it does go to court, it's going to be a very fast trial because, again, fair use and, anything that has to do with free speech in America or fair use in America is usually pretty well received by the jury, and they will usually find. I don't have any stats to prove this, but I'll say, in my opinion, it seems that the person that is trying to do the free speech is usually found innocent, so to speak of. And I have a feeling that the same thing will apply to H3H3 should this go to court. Personally, I don't think it will get to that far. Obviously, there needs to be a ruling as to whether or not if there's enough evidence here for them to actually go to court. And judging by some of the stuff that was written in the Matt Hossazone's attorney's letter to H3H3, I think they're going to find some pretty big lies, because they showed examples in the letter that, stated, like literally bullet points that said, you did this, you did that, you did these things. And then they said, well, let's go back to the video, and none of those things happened, or they were not correct according to what the lawyer had written. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens over the next couple of weeks and months to see how this pans out. I'm personally thrilled that the YouTube community is willing to basically put down its disagreements and stand up for something like this, because this is something, especially among the larger YouTube people, this is something that has basically stricken them, and it's nice to see everybody rallying behind something. And I really hope that this generates some positive feedback both for the YouTube community, and I hope that even Google and YouTube take a look at this and be like, maybe we actually do need to spend some time and re-examine our the way our copyright system works, in order to protect the creators, because the creators are the people that drive people, or the creators are the reason that people come to YouTube. People don't go to YouTube to check on their whatever, to look at pictures of dogs. They go to YouTube to see their creators and see the content that they've created. And if you're not going to protect your own content creators, why would they stick around? They need to have some level of security, or else people are just going to sue the shit out of them constantly. It's absurd. But again, we're going to have to see how this looks over the coming months. I really hope that H3H3 prevails. Like I said, they've gotten a lot of support. They've definitely got my support. The Matt Hossazone, again, I'm sorry if you feel like you're butthurt or upset about, the way that they went about their video, but it's just something you're going to have to live with, dude. It's nothing personal. It is one person's reaction to your level of content. And if you're unhappy with that, you just gotta, be the bigger man and realize that, all right, well, that's one person's opinion. And I'm sure that there are people out there that find his content to be very entertaining and very humorous. But again, that's not everybody. So with that being said, guys, like I said, I hope H3H3 ends up on top and this all just goes away. It started a bigger discussion over the lawsuit. It started the whole content and fair use discussion in YouTube, which is something that's been long overdue. That wraps it up for Opinions Ahead, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed watching whatever video game I decide to put footage for. Maybe I'll throw some Overwatch footage in there or something. I've been playing that a little bit. If you had a good time and you enjoyed this video and you agree with some of the stuff that I said, feel free to click that thumbs up button. If you think that I'm talking out my ass and I don't know what the hell is going on, you can feel free to click that thumbs down button. I promise I won't sue you if you hit the thumbs down. Or just leave a comment below, just saying, hey, how's it going? I always try to talk with people and try to engage the fans or the content consumers directly. I think it's real good for morale. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have video game content that goes up on a daily basis, usually around 12 o'clock Pacific, which is 3 o'clock Eastern. We do Let's Plays and gimmicks and walkthroughs and playthroughs of all kinds of video games, ranging from PC to console, and from first-person shooters to zombie survival, all the way up to Game of Thrones and Life is Strange style episodic narratives. But in the meantime, everybody, my name has been Joarna, that's Joarna, and you've been listening to Opinions Ahead, a video vlog / audio vlog where I talk about some of my opinions based on video game and internet news, because as we all know, the one thing that the internet needs more of is opinions. I'll see you all next time.